Good morning from Springfield, Missouri. We are up. We are over halfway home from Ohio and Pittsburgh. And today's verse is Micah 7:7. And this was written in a time in a period where there was a bunch of moral decay and spiritual crisis going on. And I cannot find a more fitting verse for all the things that are going on right now. Like last year, you can see my husband cleaning our windows in the background, but last year we had, I believe it was 13 pastors in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that experienced a moral failure of some sort. And in doing that, we we struggled with with people that were devastated, that didn't know quite what to do, didn't know what held next for the church, for their faith, for any of that. And Micah 7:7 says, "But as for me, I watch and hope for the Lord. I wait for my God, my Savior. My God will hear me." So what Micah's saying during this time frame was, I cannot see everything that I expect from God right now. I'm not seeing the church acting like the church. I'm not seeing people walking spiritually and morally correct, but I know God is true. I know God is living. I know God is faithful. And I know that God will show up in the midst of all of this chaos. And so, for those of you that have experienced church hurt, for those of you that have experienced your pastor letting you down due to, for in my case, a moral failing with a 12-year-old back in the 80s, no matter what your thoughts on that is, um, let's just remember that we're never supposed to worship the man in the pulpit. We're supposed to be worshiping the man on the throne, right? So if we keep that in our forefront, that we are not putting those pastors on pedestals, but that we are keeping our eyes set on God, then so much more will be revealed to us. We will have a greater sense of peace. We will have a greater sense of hope. And I'll be the first to admit I don't have a lot of patience. There's an old um I think it was Music Machine song called Have Patience. It was have patience. Don't be in such a hurry. When you get impatient, you only start to worry. Remember, remember that God is patient too, and think of all the times when others had to wait for you. So that is a reoccurring theme that states in my mind. Sometimes I'm waiting on God. My husband may be waiting on a woman at times, but I'm waiting on God. And hope is an active thing. You want to say, I want to do more. I need more than just waiting. Well, wait and hope, because hope is an active, participatory event in the waiting process, right? It's not passive wishing. It's watching, it's expecting, trusting that God sees, hears, and responds. Even when nothing moves on the outside, something powerful is happening inside, and your faith is deepening. And God, well, just now, I'm reminded when I was growing up at Bedford Methodist, the pastor there at Bedford had a sign that hung on his pulpit that said, "Expect a miracle." That's hoping. That's waiting in hope for God to show up. So today, this weekend, I want you to think, what are you waiting on God for right now? How can you shift from anxious waiting to hopeful watching? And what practices help you stay anchored while you wait? Now, all of this is setting us up for next week and what's happening next week. Next week, we start our study on women of the Bible. We start talking about showing how they were stronger and more powerful than even the Bible gives them credit for. If you just read their stories, you're like, oh, that's a cute story. But reading, I mean, just think about it. All right, Solomon, wisest man in the world. What was his one weakness? His one weakness was women, right? His one weakness was women. The women had more power over Solomon than Solomon had over himself, right? So it's finding our strength and tapping into it in a healthy, strong way. So whatever you are hoping for, whatever you are waiting for in God, God's trying to bring that to you right now. And we are going to find a way to uh, grow that hope, grow that faith, deepen your connection with God. And next week, we start talking about our strength through the strength of women in the Bible. So look forward to seeing you then. Until then, have a very happy weekend. Bye now.